I once burned through $10,000 like it was nothing. It sounds unbelievable, but it happened so fast I barely noticed until it was gone. The money slipped through my fingers and I didn't even realize the damage I was doing to myself. Looking back, it's almost like I was in a trance, hypnotized by the thrill of spending and the rush of instant gratification. Every swipe of my credit card felt like a tiny victory, a reward for working hard or just surviving another week. I convinced myself I deserved it. New clothes, the latest gadgets, dinners out with friends. I told myself you only live once, and used that as an excuse to ignore the growing pile of receipts. The evidence was everywhere. Crumpled receipts stuffed in drawers, credit cards maxed out, shopping bags piling up in corners of my apartment. But I kept telling myself it was normal, that everyone did it, that I'd figure it out later. I was living in denial, pretending that my spending habits weren't spiraling out of control. It felt like Monopoly money, just colorful paper I handed out for fun. I thought having money meant I had to spend it, fast. My friends and I would go out, laughing and celebrating, never thinking twice about the bill at the end of the night. We were all caught up in the moment, chasing happiness through purchases and experiences, believing that more stuff meant more joy. My life looked amazing on the outside, new gadgets, expensive meals, random stuff I barely used. My social media was full of photos of the latest tech, trendy restaurants, and shopping halls. People thought I was living the dream, but the reality was far from glamorous. Most of those things lost their appeal within days, sometimes even hours. The excitement faded and all I was left with was clutter and regret. But inside I was ignoring my bank account's cries for help. That money was supposed to be my safety net, maybe even a down payment on a place. Instead, I watched my balance shrink, feeling a growing sense of anxiety every time I checked my account. I started to realize that I was trading my future security for fleeting moments of pleasure. The weight of my choices began to sink in, and I couldn't escape the feeling that I was letting myself down. Instead, it became my playground for bad decisions. The thrill was in the spending, not the having. I'd stay up late scrolling through online stores, convincing myself I needed things I'd never even thought about before. My friends cheered me on and I cheered them on too, as if we were all in some kind of competition to see who could spend the most. It was fun, until it wasn't. $10,000 vanished in a slow, steady leak of pointless purchases. I was living in a fantasy and reality was about to hit me hard. The unopened packages at my door became a symbol of my carelessness, and the mountain of bills was impossible to ignore. That $10,000 mistake forced me to confront the truth. Happiness doesn't come from what you buy, but from what you build. And sometimes the hardest lessons are the ones that cost you the most. Here's where that 10 grand went. Death by 1,000 cuts. Looking back, it's almost impressive how quickly small, seemingly harmless decisions can snowball into a financial disaster. I didn't lose it all at once. It was a slow leak, a drip 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 of cash that I barely noticed until it was too late. First, food delivery apps. What started as a convenient way to treat myself after a long day became a daily habit. I ordered every meal, racking up $1,000 a month on food I could have cooked for a fraction of the price. It wasn't just the cost of the food either. Delivery fees, service charges, and tips added up fast. I convinced myself I was saving time, but really, I was just paying a premium for laziness. The worst part? Half the time the food wasn't even that good, and I'd still end up snacking later because I wasn't satisfied. Second, subscription services. I paid for streaming, music, and monthly boxes I never used. Hundreds wasted every month. It's so easy to sign up for a free trial and forget to cancel, or to convince yourself you need every new show or playlist. Before I knew it, I was juggling 5 streaming platforms, 2 music apps, and a couple of mystery box subscriptions that just piled up unopened. I barely used half of them, but the charges kept coming, quietly draining my account. Third, impulse tech buys. I had to have the latest phone or console even if my old one worked fine. Most gadgets just collected dust. The thrill of unboxing something new faded fast and I'd end up with a drawer full of upgrades that were barely used. I told myself I was investing in productivity or entertainment, but really I was just chasing the high of having the newest thing. It's amazing how quickly want can disguise itself as need. Fourth, brand name clothes. I dropped hundreds on hoodies and sneakers to look successful, but it only put me in debt. I thought wearing the right brands would boost my confidence or help me fit in, but all it did was empty my wallet. The irony? Most of those clothes sat in my closet, tags still on, because I was too worried about ruining them. I was buying an image, not happiness. Fifth, saying yes to every social invite, concerts, dinners, trips I couldn't afford, all to avoid missing out. I didn't want to be the one who stayed home, so I kept swiping my card, telling myself I'd figure it out later. The pressure to keep up with friends, to always be part of the group, made it easy to ignore my budget. I was living for the moment, but those moments came with a hefty price tag. Each habit fed the next, creating a perfect storm that wrecked my finances. The more I spent on convenience, the more I justified spending on entertainment. The more I tried to look successful, the more I felt I needed to keep up appearances. It was a cycle, one bad habit making the next one seem normal, even necessary. I was funding companies for nothing, buying hype, and sacrificing my future for a few hours of fun. Every swipe of my card felt harmless in the moment, but together, they added up to a mountain of debt. I was basically paying for the privilege of being broke, all while making other people rich. The scariest part was how easy it was to ignore the warning signs. I'd see my balance drop, but I'd tell myself it was temporary, that I'd cut back next month, but next month never came. The bills kept piling up and my excuses got weaker. The result? Regret, debt, and nothing to show for it. I wasn't building memories or investing in my future, I was just digging a deeper hole. The stress of seeing overdue bills and maxed out cards started to affect everything, from my sleep to my relationships. These 5 habits were a masterclass in self-sabotage. I was my own worst enemy, making choices that felt good in the moment but left me worse off every time. It's easy to blame outside factors, but the truth is, I was the one making the decisions. I was more focused on appearances than my own financial health. Social media didn't help. Seeing everyone else's highlight reels made me want to keep up, even if it meant spending money I didn't have. I was chasing validation instead of security. The fun was temporary, but the debt was permanent. Every impulse buy, every night out, every treat-yourself moment left a mark on my bank account that lasted long after the excitement faded. I learned the hard way that financial freedom is worth more than any quick thrill. I was left with nothing but regret. But if there's one thing I've learned, it's that recognizing your mistakes is the first step to changing them. Now, I'm working to break the cycle, and hopefully, you can learn from my dumbest ways to waste money before you make the same mistakes. The crash came fast. I was at the grocery store trying to buy milk and bread. My card was declined twice. I left my groceries and walked home humiliated. At home, I checked my account, 17 cents left. Worse, I owed over $5,000 on my credit card. The $10,000 was gone and I dug myself into a hole. That night, I couldn't sleep. Every dumb purchase replayed in my mind. The anxiety was crushing. How would I pay rent, eat? I had no one to blame but myself. I was broke, in debt, and drowning in shame. Every phone buzz made me panic. I realized if I didn't change, my life would spiral out of control. I had to act, immediately. That night, I made a choice. Face the mess, or let it destroy me. I promised myself to track every penny for 30 days. I downloaded a budgeting app, and braced for the ugly truth. The first week was a shock. Every coffee, every snack, every harmless purchase added up fast. Seeing the numbers forced me to change. I deleted food delivery apps, started cooking, and canceled unused subscriptions. Small changes saved me hundreds. It wasn't easy. Temptation was everywhere. But every time I wanted to give up, I checked my progress. I was finally making conscious decisions, not just spending mindlessly. For the first time, I felt in control. I was building a new foundation, one small step at a time. The biggest lesson? Learning the difference between needs and wants. I'd convinced myself every want was a need. New games, trendy restaurants, expensive sneakers. Tracking my spending forced me to ask, do I need this to survive or just want it? My real needs were simple: rent, groceries, utilities, internet for work. Everything else was a want. 90% of my old spending was on wants. I started shopping with logic, not emotion. If it wasn't a need, I walked away. Needs came first, always. Fun wasn't banned, it just had to be planned. This simple filter brought order to my chaos and gave me real financial freedom. Next, I learned to give every dollar a job, zero-based budgeting. Before, my paycheck was a pile I spent from until it was gone. Now, I assigned every dollar to a category: rent, groceries, bills, debt repayment. Debt became a non-negotiable priority. If money was left after needs and debt, it got a job too, savings or guilt-free fun. This system killed mindless spending. I couldn't just grab a $20 lunch, that money already had a job. Planned spending meant no more guilt or anxiety. I was finally the boss of my money. Intention, not restriction, was the key. The most powerful shift? Realizing my future self was counting on me. Every dumb purchase stole from my future, his security, his freedom. I started picturing him. Would he thank me for this? Or wish I'd saved? Saving became an act of kindness to my future self. Every dollar toward debt or savings was a gift to the person I'd become. Delaying gratification was easier with this mindset. My why became clear. I wanted my future self to be free from anxiety and regret. I made choices for him, not just for now. That's what keeps me on track. After 30 days of relentless tracking, discipline, and self-reflection, everything changed. What started as a simple experiment to get my finances under control became a turning point in my life. Each day I marked off on the calendar wasn't just another day survived, it was a small victory. a step closer to the person I wanted to become. The process was challenging, but with every box I checked, I felt a little stronger, a little more in control. The anxiety that used to grip me every time I opened my banking app slowly faded away. Instead of dread, I felt anticipation. I actually looked forward to checking my bank account, curious to see the progress I was making. The numbers on the screen no longer felt like a source of shame, but a reflection of my hard work and commitment. My spending breakdown was night and day. I went from wasting $2,650 every month on things I barely remembered, to spending just $370 on true essentials. The difference was staggering. For the first time I could see exactly where my money was going, and I realized how much I'd been letting slip through my fingers. With the money I saved, I threw $1,000 at my highest interest debt, started an emergency fund for the first time in my life, and paid every bill on time. Each payment felt like a weight lifting off my shoulders. I was finally taking control. Not just reacting to emergencies. My lifestyle improved in ways I never expected. I started cooking at home, experimenting with new recipes, and found joy in the simple act of preparing a meal. I picked up new skills, learning guitar, painting, even just reading more. I laughed more, enjoyed my coffee at home, and realized that happiness didn't have to come with a price tag. I proved to myself that I didn't need to spend to be happy. I could say no to impulse buys and still feel content. Walking in the park, enjoying a quiet evening at home, or simply relaxing without the pressure to shop, these moments became my new normal. The peace of mind I gained was better than any gadget or fancy meal. There was a calmness in my life that I hadn't felt in years. I started each day with gratitude, appreciating the quiet moments and the sense of control I'd earned. With every small win, I built momentum. I had hope for the future and a real plan to get there. Setting goals became exciting, not overwhelming. I mapped out my next steps, confident that I could achieve them. My life became intentional, not chaotic. I organized my space, my time, and my priorities. The clutter, both physical and mental, started to disappear, replaced by a sense of purpose and direction. I rediscovered happiness in small, meaningful ways. Sharing a laugh with friends, playing a board game, or just enjoying a quiet cup of coffee became moments I truly cherished. The comeback was real, and it was built on the foundation of mindful choices. I was building a better future, one smart choice at a time. Every dollar saved, every goal checked off, every new habit formed was an investment in the life I wanted. True happiness, I realized, came from feeling in control, not from consuming more. And that sense of control, that peace, was worth more than anything money could buy. Here's what keeps me up at night. If I'd started 5 years earlier, I'd have over $150,000 saved or invested. That's a house, a business, real freedom. The cost of bad habits isn't just wasted money, it's the future you never build. My story isn't unique. So many of us are sleepwalking through our finances, trading dreams for convenience. Money stress ruins health, relationships, happiness. Don't wait for a crisis to change. Here's my challenge. For the next 30 days, track every dollar you spend, be brutally honest. Find your biggest money-wasting habits. What you discover will shock and empower you. This is your wake-up call. Your future self is counting on you. Start now.